and welcome to Something Witchy, a Sabrina the Teenage Witch rewatch podcast. I'm Lara Cotter.
And I'm Sky Orchard.
And if you are listening to this, we all got left behind in the rapture on Tuesday.
Dang it.
Do you think you're going to be raptured, Sky?
Nah, I don't qualify for a rapture, I think.
I would welcome a rapture at this point.
To be raptured or be left behind in a rapture?
You know what? Either or.
Okay.
Because I figure either way, like if I qualify, then my friends are definitely going to qualify. So either way, I'm going to be with my friends, I'm pretty sure.
That's good thinking.
I do have kind of like a serious note that I wanted to just say really quickly. So last week, a very close friend of my mom's passed away. And the reason I'm mentioning on this podcast is because she was a very sweet woman who, well, I didn't know her super well. She had a daughter that was my age that like I had a couple sleepovers with in junior high. But anytime I would share anything about the podcast to my personal page, she would immediately like it. Like within a few minutes, she would just be like.
Aww.
And so I'm definitely going to miss her. So, Michelle, we're going to miss you. And thank you for all the support you gave us over this past year.
Thank you, Michelle.
The good news I have, the washing machine is fixed. The saga has ended.
And thus concludes the saga.
It's done. What's funny, sad, funny, that's done. And then Saturday, I was driving home from a conference I'd been at for this weekend, and my tire pressure light came on because the sensor in my tire has died, and it's the third one that's died. So now I have to go get that replaced. But that, at least, like, I know what it is. I know how to replace it. It's a real quick fix. It's just a couple $100s, and I got to decide when I want to spend that money. It's always something when you're an adult, isn't it?
Unfortunately, yes.
Oh, our question of the week. This is when we do this. I'm so tired. I had like an 80-hour work week last week, and I've had a lot of naps yesterday and today, and it still hasn't quite gotten me to where I need to be. I should have had some caffeine. I might actually step away to go get some caffeine. But first, let's do our question. So our question this week. We learned in this episode that Cupid can use both arrows and a pea shooter to make someone fall in love. If you were Cupid, what would be your projectile or implement of choice to get people to fall in love?
Well, when you say projectile, first thing that comes to mind is a trebuchet, but that's more long-range form Cupidry, I feel like.
You can do the ones in the popsicle sticks for short range.
Well, I think for short range, I want to go like full throwing axes. So axes and trebuchets.
I don't know if that's more or less violent.
Well, one is crushing you with love, and one is this sweet, sharp slice of love.
Splitting your skull open with love. Okay. Add it to the Halloween list. Axe throwing Cupid. Mine was going to be a Nerf gun.
How cute and innocent.
I feel like that's the complete 180 from love axes is foam darts.
You know, I think that sums the two of us up in nutshells right there, though.
I'm actually changing mine. Marshmallow shooter.
That's even more use, so...
Oh man. Okay. I'm gonna have some caffeine and then we can get into the episode because it's gonna be a night if I don't get something in me.
Okay. This is the part where, as Laura goes away, I talk quietly into the microphone. We all agree that the trebuchet and the throwing axes are so much cooler, right? Right. Glad y'all are in agreement.
I did opt for like halfway healthy with an Olipop, Dr. Goodwin. At least I'll get some probiotics with my caffeine.
I hope you can sleep tonight.
This is season 2, episode 17, titled The Equalizer. Our TV guide description. Roland the troll is a magic policeman and steals Sabrina's heart after she misuses magic. I feel like policeman is a misnomer.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a lie.
Yeah. Paramount Plus. Roland the troll takes Valentine's Day too far when he steals Sabrina's heart.
Quick little subnote here that I wrote right after I wrote this description of puking, and I haven't even started this episode.
I actually have a thought on how this could have been done better, but we'll get to that later. It originally aired February 13th, 1998. We have new director and new writers this time. Our new director is Linda Day, so she will direct 11 more episodes. She's also directed WKRP in Cincinnati, Unhappily Ever After, The Clueless TV show, and Married with Children. Our first writer is Alexandra Komisarek. She just has 3 writing credits, this episode, and then Living with the Enemy and The Olivia Experiment, but she was an assistant editor for 37 episodes of Sabrina. And our other writer is Pamela Soper, who also only has 3 writing credits. So this episode, something called ENG, and then something called Crashbox. We have 3 returning guest stars. Beth Grant as Mrs. Popowski, Phil Fondacaro as Roland, and Patrick Thomas O'Brien as Cupid. Our one new person, not new actually, Sean Lawton as Ken. He was in Trial by Fire and he was the fireman in Troll Bride. So all 4 of our guest stars have been on here before. Sean was just different characters before.
Okay, so we haven't seen Ken before.
We've never seen Ken. All right, time for our overall thoughts, Sky.
Puking, and we haven't even started this episode. I do like the continuing to expand, like, the fairy tale world of, like, oh, Sleeping Beauty spells, Thumbelina. I do not like this episode. This might be my least favorite. The whole premise of Roland and Sabrina, just the age difference and everything, just nah.
I actually do kind of like the premise of the equalizing itself, like where there needs to be a balance in the universe. I think that's a clever idea. I think the Quizmaster could have played this role. I don't think we needed to have Roland act as the equalizer. I do think, though, that if they did have the Quizmaster play this role, it would be a little too similar to What a Tangled Spell She Weaves, where it was like, oh, the consequence of like not being specific enough. I feel like it could have been Quizmaster. It could have been somebody different. It didn't have to be Roland. I don't think Roland added anything to the lesson learned. Yeah, it was icky. The one thing I like about having Roland on an episode is his interactions with Harvey. I think the way that Harvey responds to him is funny every time. And I'll talk about that later when we get further into the episode. They also they didn't have to commit so hard to him being pedophilic almost. Like it was unnecessary. My other thought was there are a lot of short skirts for February in New England in this episode. A lot of bare legs and mini skirts, especially when you see Mr. Kraft later on in the episode come in with a like huge trench coat. Let's get into our episode. In our cold open, Valerie and Sabrina are shopping for Valentine's Day dance dresses. Ken happens to arrive and flirts with Valerie by getting behind a mannequin wearing a dress and says, "Picture it with a Wonder Bra." And this was the time when Wonder Bras were so fancy and such a big thing.
They were wondrous.
Sure were. Sabrina spots the perfect dress for Valerie, but it's way too expensive. And instead of just putting the dress back on the rack that she's standing next to, Valerie then walks a few steps away and hangs it on the wrong rack, which I know they needed to do that for shot purposes. It was just a little ridiculous. It's not realistically how anybody would behave. So Valerie puts it away, but Sabrina zaps a 20% off tag on it. Flip to Salem in Sabrina's room, needing a sweater, and a large hole appears in it. Back in the shop, Sabrina points out the tag and convinces Valerie to get it.
She says, "I think it's a President's Day sale and all the other dresses are Canadian. So you must choose this one."
Our outfit intro is a hillbilly cave woman who says, "Do you like my wedding dress?"
They're getting desperate.
Somebody was high when they wrote that one. Sabrina is getting ready while talking to Valerie on the phone. She hangs up and finds her red sweater with a huge hole in it. She takes it downstairs to the aunts, announcing that they have a moth problem. Hilda announces that she and Zelda are chaperoning the school dance. Sabrina is outraged. The doorbell rings and Mr. Kraft is there. Sabrina points him to Hilda, who is trying to hide. Mr. Kraft is dropping off the dance rules and awkwardly hints at potentially dancing with Hilda, but she shoves him out the door. Zelda reviews the rules and is sure there won't be any racketeering at the dance.
Racketeering via the Cornell Law School is a set of illegal activities aimed at commercial profit that may be disguised as legitimate business deals. Racketeering is defined by a coordinated effort by multiple people to repeatedly earn a profit, typically by fraud, extortion, bribery, threats, violence, or other illegal means, and we definitely do not see racketeering these days.
Never. Hilda says they have to get dates.
Or Zelda will have to kill her.
There's also a lot of feathery clothes in this season. Hilda's wearing a feathery top on this one. Sabrina and Harvey are at the slicery where Valerie is watching Ken play pinball. They don't have enough money for a tip, just 2 quarters. Mrs. Popowski makes a sarcastic remark referring Sabrina as Salinas, which is a callback, a rare callback to episode 11, which was the Tangled Spell She Weaves episode. Very excited to hear that. Valerie runs over and asks for more money to keep playing pinball because she's actually being fun and Ken is leaving. Sabrina zaps the machine to give them some more credits. At school, Sabrina is looking for her algebra book when Roland appears holding it. He's changed careers and is an equalizer. He grossly hits on her and explains that if she takes from the universe, he takes from her. He was the one who took 20% of her sweater in exchange for the dress. Mr. Kraft arrives and asks who Roland is. Sabrina claims he's her cousin. Roland asks if Mr. Kraft is her new boyfriend, which may be the only thing worse than Sabrina dating Roland would be Sabrina dating Mr. Kraft. Mr. Kraft chastises him about not checking in as a visitor, so Roland kicks him. Then Harvey appears and Roland starts calling him Farm Boy again. Harvey just wanted to talk to Sabrina about the dance. He starts to tell her whatever it is he has to say, but Roland casts a spell on him to say he has to go to a termite convention with his dad. And this is the one thing I love is just how Harvey absolutely refuses to engage with Roland at all, to make it that much more of a contrast between Roland's insane aggression and Harvey's just like pure confidence in who he is and his relationship, whatever it is with Sabrina. Harvey remains unflappable in the face of Roland.
So what kind of magical trauma or forgetting was at the end of Troll Bride for Harvey?
I'm wondering if they just erased the fight scene and him going to the other realm.
Okay. He remembers Roland being the aunt's friend, and I wasn't sure if he should remember Roland at all based on trauma to his head. Which version? Which flavor is it tonight?
Well, that's a further question. I would think that when you're messing with a mortal's memory, you want to mess with it as little as possible. So erasing as little amount of time as possible. And if they had erased the full time that he'd known him, that would have erased days of school too. So I'm willing to bet they just erased the part where he went to... Oh, yeah, because he started drinking the drink when they tell him about him needing to go to the other realm to fight Roland. And that's when he's drinking the potion that will start the memory erasing once he's done with the fight. So I think it's just for that portion.
Okay.
Again, we're just making up answers because we don't get them ever. So this is what makes logical sense to me. If you have a different explanation, please feel free to share it. Zelda and Hilda are looking through their address books for dates. Everyone they know is busy, married, or disgusting.
Several were all three, according to Zelda.
An angry Sabrina storms in and Hilda asks what's wrong. She says she's being equalized. And Salem sobs, "Please tell me you didn't take anyone's pet." Sabrina is justifying what she did, but the aunts say what she did is still wrong.
Hilda chimes in with, "I took Belgium once to help Napoleon. Big trouble."
Hilda loves some big, powerful leaders, good or bad.
Sure does. Yeah, get some nice Hilda history here.
Yep. Oh, I guess we could add this to the timeline.
Yeah, Napoleon.
Sabrina says she has to get rid of Roland. He still wants to marry her. They explain she needs to give back what she took and not just zap it back. She has to make an effort.
Which is how I came to participate in a little thing called Waterloo, says Hilda.
Sabrina gives money to Mrs. Popowski to give to the pinball machine. Mrs. Popowski is not impressed and angrily takes the money. And I think she is the best part of this episode. The aunts are arguing about something as they come downstairs. Then Hilda reluctantly agrees to summon Cupid. He appears on the couch, looking depressed. He was just left at the altar. He rips the bow tie off and says he's getting out of the love business.
"My fiancé left me for a policeman. She never could resist a man in clothes."
Zelda is ready to throw in the towel on getting dates, but Hilda can't go with Mr. Kraft. She tries to cheer up Cupid, but he starts crying in her lap. Roland gives back Sabrina's algebra book for erasing one debt. Sabrina can't ask Valerie to give back the dress, though. She loves it. Roland tells her she can sew a duplicate.
"So I can barely staple."
Maybe she'd take the stapler out of the little cauldron and she could practice more.
It's true. Take the pens out while you're at it, Sabrina.
She is confused by this, and Roland asks if the aunts have a sewing room. Salem says there's one in the dungeon next to the bomb shelter.
Yay, we get a room adjacent to the dungeon. I was very excited. It looked like a dungeon. Got excited for a moment, but then saw the spinning wheel, so boo, whatever. But I also now want to see this bomb shelter as this house just keeps growing. Give me a dungeon, give me a bomb shelter. What's gonna be next? A morgue.
Roland and Sabrina enter a medieval-looking room with a giant spinning wheel. Sabrina has a feeling Roland is going to tell her that his real name is Rumpelstiltskin. Hilda is still trying to cheer up Cupid, but it's not working. And she is quoting the 1970s film Love Story. Zelda answers the phone, and it's Valerie. She calls for Sabrina, but Salem comes down saying she's in the dungeon with Roland. Luckily, Zelda has some brain cells and goes to investigate. Sabrina is spinning the dress.
This is fun. I think I found my old age hobby.
When Roland zaps a sharp spindle on the wheel, and Sabrina is enticed by it. She reaches for it as Roland daydreams about her pricking her finger, falling asleep, and then marrying her. The daydream ends just as Zelda rushes in and stops her. Zelda tells him that Sleeping Beauty spells are illegal, and Sabrina is upset. She still doesn't want to marry him. He leaves, declaring that they're still not square.
I was only going to keep her for a century or two.
Which I think firmly establishes that she has a longer than normal mortal lifespan.
I guess that is a positive out of that line, as we're getting something established.
I'm going to say that's what that line means. Ken is walking around the cafeteria reciting Shakespeare. Valerie watches him adoringly. Sabrina tells her to ask him to the dance, but she doesn't want to. If she doesn't ask, she can pretend it just slipped his mind, but it would be worse to ask him and be rejected. Sabrina offers to feel him out for her and goes to talk to Ken. Sabrina asks if he's taking anyone to the dance, but he takes that as Sabrina asking him, and he accepts, saying that she has stolen his heart. Valerie hears this and runs out with Sabrina chasing after her. Roland appears, saying that since Sabrina stole Ken's heart, he's going to take hers. And he actually has like this fancy little leather pouch to put it in with a little red jewel on it. And I like Sabrina's shoes in this scene. And that's my thoughts on that scene. Sabrina's heart belongs to Roland. He walks away and she gazes lovingly after him. Harvey comes out to ask Sabrina if she's going to the dance with Ken, but she ignores him and yells, "Wait for me, my darling," as she runs after Roland. Even Mr. Kraft looks on in confusion. Sabrina arrives at Roland's house with him, or his hovel. Sabrina spots a picture of another woman and jealously says it has to go. She asks to gaze lovingly into his eyes, and they stare at each other. And we hear the Billy Goat's gruff tramping over the bridge. This is a different place than he took Sabrina in the previous season. They were in a tower.
He's lost his tower, now lives under a bridge. Says just get used to the sound. It's like living at the airport. It just goes away in your brain.
I think the Billy Goat's gruff gave them a toaster in the last season when they were getting married. Hilda paces as Cupid breaks his arrows. Zelda asks how it's going, and Hilda makes a sarcastic remark.
It's more challenging than building the Panama Canal, but then less malaria.
Cupid smiles and is shocked. He never thought he'd smile again. And then Hilda says that she's seen bigger on a Lutheran.
That was a good one.
Cupid is cured. Hilda is excited and starts talking about a fireman down the street, but Cupid is focused on Hilda and how he owes it all to her. The doorbell rings and it's Mr. Kraft. The two men immediately start fighting over her. Literally. Zelda runs in and helps break it up. Mr. Kraft has come to talk about Sabrina's strange behavior with her, quote, cousin. And I was like, it's actually kind of nice for Mr. Kraft to come check in on Sabrina and be worried about her.
It's true. Potential ulterior motives, though, to see Hilda. Maybe doing both.
Doing a good deed for selfish reasons doesn't necessarily negate the good deed. The aunts figure out he means Roland and leave to call Valerie, leaving the two men to size each other up. And no one closes the front door in this entire scene. And it is February in Massachusetts. The aunts realize that Sabrina is missing and walk in on Mr. Kraft and Cupid arm wrestling. They throw Mr. Kraft out and take Cupid with them to the other realm,
so that they can use the carpool lane.
Sabrina made Roland a personal pizza and asks what else she can do for him when the aunts arrive. She gladly greets them. And Cupid? They're there to rescue her. Cupid knows what he's done. He's taken her heart. Zelda tells Roland to give it back because he's not allowed to equalize for his own benefit. But Sabrina doesn't want it back. Sabrina and Roland start to shoo everyone out.
The ogre and his wife are coming over for dinner, and there's not enough entrails for everyone.
But Hilda grabs one of Cupid's arrows and hands it to Zelda, who throws it at Roland. Roland slowly turns around and calls Hilda the love of his life. Poor Hilda. Going from not getting any man to getting the three least desirable men. But then he calls Sabrina the love of his life when she objects. He turns back and forth between the two of them. Roland angrily yells at Zelda, but agrees to give back Sabrina's heart in exchange for one favor. Zelda agrees, and Roland gives back the heart. Sabrina takes off the apron and runs out, yelling, "If I change my mind about living in hell with a man I can't stand, I'll let you know." Hilda leaves, and Cupid assures her the feelings will wear off by sundown. Zelda asks Roland for his request, and he whispers it to her. She agrees to whatever it was. Cut to Roland dancing with Sabrina at her dance as his request for Zelda, but Sabrina is still mad at him for taking Harvey away. I'm upset at Zelda for agreeing to this. I feel like this takes away some of Sabrina's bodily autonomy. She definitely says it was for one dance, but it's made clear that they've been dancing for a while, and he seems to think that they're still going to dance. I know that this is seen as like the innocent or less harmful favor, but I feel like this punishes Sabrina in a way and puts her in a bad position with somebody who has very clearly sexually harassed, if not assaulted her.
Agreed. And the way it's said at the start, I interpreted it as she's doing the whole dance with him. Like she went to the dance with him as the request.
But then she says at one point, like, oh, it was only one dance, but clearly it's implied that there have been multiple dances. I would have rather had it been Hilda that had a dance with him because at least she's an adult.
Mm-hmm. And there was the Cupid arrow.
I feel like Hilda would, take that bullet for Sabrina. I'm a little bit uncomfortable with being like, yeah, weird older man, you can dance with my 17-year-old niece.
Yeah. Hilda liked Napoleon, so I'm sure she'd like Roland in the end.
I would say Roland has a Napoleon complex. They answer chaperoning, and Cupid is there with Hilda, fully clothed, but with a diaper sticking out of his pants. And I loved Zelda's hair in this scene for the dance. Sabrina goes up to Valerie and apologizes, but Valerie knows it's not her fault that Ken doesn't like her, and it's not Valerie's fault either. And I about screamed in my living room. I was so excited for this character growth moment for Valerie.
Please don't scream. You will traumatize Mabel.
I'm just real hoping that this character growth stays and doesn't disappear next episode. Just then, Ken appears in a full tux and a top hat. Mr. Kraft butts in and tells them to stop chatting as Valerie is supposed to be working the refreshment table. Sabrina runs over to Hilda and asks to borrow Cupid, then asks him to make Ken attracted to Valerie. But he didn't bring his arrows. He did bring his pea shooter and love peas, though. He gets ready to shoot Ken, but stops. It would be a waste of a pea because Ken is already crazy about Valerie. He's just shy. So instead, Sabrina zaps Valerie to ask Ken to dance. Valerie, shocked, covers her mouth as Ken says he would love to. They go off to dance as Mr. Kraft tries to stop them. Hilda then asks Cupid to give Zelda a little help as she sits off to the side. So Cupid shoots her and Mr. Kraft with peas. They slowly come together, and there was some dramatic, slow, romantic music playing when this happens, and they start dancing. Roland comes up to Sabrina and apologizes for stealing her heart. Sabrina says that was nice, and she likes it when he's nice. Roland misreads this as them being engaged. He is going to equalize what he did to her and zaps the doors, causing Harvey to walk through them. There was no termite convention. A slow dance starts, and he and Sabrina go to dance. They pass by Zelda and Mr. Kraft, Valerie and Ken, and Hilda and Cupid. Sabrina taps Zelda and Hilda on the shoulder and points to a depressed Roland, so the three of them cast a spell to summon Thumbelina, who starts dancing with Roland. And the DVDs did not have Savage Gardens, Truly, Madly, Deeply playing, but Pluto TV did.
DVDs are robbing you of some Savage Garden.
Mm-hmm.
Harvey and Sabrina.
Bring it on.
I mean, I don't know how much I have to bring on. I'm just so... Just decide if the first two episodes were a thing or if they weren't. I feel like they weren't a thing at this point. But then they said Friends a couple episodes ago. I don't know anymore.
I think we are clearly building up to the season finale with this question. It is the season-long question. Are they still together? Are they kind of together? Are they going to be just friends? This is all building up to a huge climax with the season finale. I kind of liked that it was implied that Harvey was maybe going to ask Sabrina to the dance, but then he never got the chance, and so it kind of left it ambiguous. As much as it is frustrating that we don't have a clear definition, I feel like compared to earlier in the season, we're actually getting slightly more realistic of what it means, what it is to be a teenager where you really like somebody, but you also have a friendship that you don't want to ruin with them. And so you're trying to keep those lines, but you're not really very good at it. I'm becoming more and more comfortable with this weird ambiguity. I know where it's going to lead, and I know what the final result is going to be. And I think for me, it will pay off. I hope it will pay off for you too. It's not bothering me as much as it was. I don't think we've had a few episodes now where it's been much more, they're friends. There's not been as much romantic stuff in the past few episodes.
26 episodes in this season?
It's a long season.
That's a long time for me to continue to wait for some payoff.
Technically, the payoff really doesn't even come until the season premiere of season 3.
All right, I'm out.
I'll be doing the rest of season 2 by myself. The unpack was fun. I watched it more as like this was just the cast than this was the characters. So the cast are dancing down a line, including Hilda with Roland, Sabrina and Valerie, Mr. Kraft and Cupid wrestling, Zelda and Harvey, Hen and Thumbelina, Valerie and Roland, Sabrina and Hilda, and then Cupid and Mr. Kraft again. And Harvey and Zelda are my favorites. They were cute together. Well, another Roland episode in the books.
We have 2 more?
I don't know if we have 2 or 1 more. Oh. No, we have 3 more.
Well, I was lied to at some point. I think I was told 4.
Because he appears in 4 seasons, and I thought it was once per season, but there's 2 in season 3. Ooh, one of those episodes you're going to have real mixed feelings about because it's a really good Salem episode, but Roland's in it.
Oh.
Anyway, our next episode is season 2, episode 18, the band episode. What's it about, Sky?
So sometimes there's titles that like really help clue it in. And then there's ones that are like very ambiguous. And then there are ones that are fun to make up because they're fun titles. This is one of those ambiguous ones that's not so fun. Is this the one that you and Emily said you might like? Or was that a different one when we recap season 1?
I think we talked about this one.
So I think we're going to have a lot of guest appearances, maybe by some bands. Hopefully not the Violent Femmes. They had their time. Who's around right now in 96, 7? Do we get Backstreet Boys?
8.
NSYNC? Just going to start listing all the boy bands I can think of, and those are the only 2 I can think of from that time. So
O-Town, 98 Degrees.
So yeah, we're gonna have some guest stars, some magic, and a lesson learned, and I hope we get more Salem this next episode, because we didn't get much of our kitty cat friend.
You didn't talk about the Salem pie line, and I thought you would talk about him and his pie lines. It was cute because the little kitty actor, so when he's coming down the stairs and he says that Serena's in the dungeon, and then he says, "Is there any leftover pie?" And the little kitty actor runs into the kitchen, and Zelda's like, "I'm going to go check on them." And the kitty actor comes back out, and he's like, "Well?" And Zelda's like, "Yes, there's pie."
I completely missed that, but I love it. I'm not going to go back and rewatch it, though, so thank you for describing it.
It was all kitty actor, it was no puppet. So that was fun. Until next time, please like, share, rate, or subscribe to this podcast. We would love it if you did. You can email us at somethingwitchypod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram at somethingwitchypod and TikTok at something.witchy.pod. Until next time,
stay magical.